November 20th, 1943, 6:23 in the morning, Red Beach 2, Betio Island, Tarawa. The sand itself seemed to come alive. Perfectly spaced fountains of earth erupted in a walking pattern that no Japanese defender had ever witnessed before, each impact arriving with terrifying mechanical precision, marching straight toward their hidden positions like the footsteps of an invisible giant. Through the narrow firing slit of a palm log bunker, a Japanese naval infantryman watched something that would shatter everything his commanders had taught him about warfare. A single American Marine officer crawled forward through the chaos, carrying what looked like an oversized rifle. According to every page of the Japanese defensive manual, American troops were predictable. They relied on massed rifle fire. Their individual weapons were considered inferior to the spiritual power, the sacred force of a bayonet charge. But this lone Marine, First Lieutenant William Dean Hawkins, was about to prove that the entire tactical philosophy of the Imperial Japanese Army was dangerously, fatally obsolete. The weapon in his hands was the Browning automatic rifle, the bar 19 pounds of American engineering, capable of firing .30-06 Springfield rounds at a controlled rate of 300 to 450 rounds per minute, or when hell needed to be delivered faster, 500 to 650 rounds per minute. Each 20-round magazine could be completely emptied in under 3 seconds on the fast setting. 3 seconds to deliver what an entire Japanese rifle squad needed a full minute to accomplish. What happened next wasn't just a battle. It was a demonstration, a collision between two entirely different philosophies of war. A military culture that glorified spiritual power and warrior spirit, meeting an industrial democracy that had mechanized the very act of killing, and perfected it with ruthless efficiency. The bar wasn't just a rifle, it was American mass production principles, applied directly to infantry warfare. It was Henry Ford's assembly line, transformed into a weapon. It was the brutal truth that courage alone, honor alone, meant absolutely nothing against automatic firepower delivered with industrial precision. Just 20 minutes after Hawkins began his assault, his scout sniper platoon had cleared 3 fortified Japanese strongpoints using concentrated bar fire. The opening act of the bloody battle for Tarawa had begun, and the Imperial Japanese Army was about to learn a lesson written in bullets. The Japanese military had entered the Pacific War carrying tactical doctrines that were already aging, frozen in their victories against China and Russia decades earlier. Their 1909 infantry manual, still being used in 1943, devoted 17 full pages to Seishin, spiritual power, and the sacred art of bayonet fighting automatic weapons. 2 paragraphs. That's all they genuinely believed. Institutionalized it as military science, that Bushido code and sufficient motivation could overcome any enemy through sheer willpower alone. While the Japanese did possess their own light machine guns, the Type 96 and Type 99, these were distributed at a heartbreakingly inadequate rate of only 2 or 3 per entire company. They were treated as specialized support weapons, rare assets, not the foundation of infantry tactics. The concept that the Americans were employing, giving every single squad multiple automatic rifles, making firepower itself the basis of infantry tactics rather than valor, was completely alien to Japanese military thinking. Incomprehensible. This fatal misunderstanding meant that on island after island across the Pacific, American infantry squads possessed more sustained automatic firepower than entire Japanese platoons. Let that sink in for a moment. The bar, produced at extraordinary rates that seemed almost impossible, became the living symbol of this crushing disparity. The democratization of firepower itself, designed by the legendary John Browning in 1917, the bar was mass-produced in quantities that defied Japanese comprehension. It gave ordinary American infantrymen, farm boys from Iowa, factory workers from Detroit, firepower that had previously been reserved only for crew-served weapons operated by specialists. By November 1943, American factories were performing what could only be called production miracles. The New England Small Arms Corporation alone manufactured approximately 168,380 bars during the war. Even IBM, a company the Japanese knew only for business machines and punch cards, retooled its entire factories and produced 20,000 bars. Additional manufacturers contributed to a staggering total of approximately 350,000 bars produced during the war. These numbers were beyond comprehension to a Japanese military-industrial complex that hand-fitted each Type 96 machine gun in small workshops, where skilled craftsmen spent weeks, sometimes months, on single weapons, but the weapon specifications, the cold numbers, were only part of the story. What made the bar truly revolutionary wasn't just what it was, but how it was used. By 1943, every Marine rifle squad had 3 bars. Every Army squad had at least one. This meant that American small units had organic automatic firepower, instantly available, without waiting for specialized machine gun teams to laboriously set up their tripods and position their weapons. The first major American offensive at Guadalcanal, Satutuchan Anfurn, provided the Japanese their initial, devastating glimpse of what they truly faced at the Battle of the Tenaru. Setanderte, actually the Ilu River. On August 21, 1942, Colonel Kiyonao Ichiki led 917 men in a nighttime assault. He expected to overrun the American positions through spiritual superiority and the shock of hand-to-hand combat. Instead, they ran directly into interlocking fields of automatic weapons fire, including 12 bars, strategically positioned throughout the Marine defensive line. The mathematics that followed were absolutely brutal. A Japanese rifle squad of 13 men could theoretically fire 65 aimed rounds per minute with their bolt-action Arisaka rifles. Impressive! In 1905, but a Marine squad with 3 bars could deliver 150 rounds in the first 4 seconds of contact. 4 seconds. When dawn finally broke over the battlefield, only 128 survivors remained from Ichiki's once proud force. The Japanese response to this overwhelming firepower was to go underground. By late 1943, they were building elaborate cave systems and tunnel networks, complex underground fortresses that they considered absolutely impregnable. The bar changed this calculation entirely. The technique that evolved for cave clearing became standard Marine procedure, passed down from veteran to rookie, a brutal dance that saved American lives. Position the bar gunner 25 yards from the cave entrance. Fire one full 20-round magazine into the opening, in a figure-8 pattern. Maintain continuous fire. The 30.06 round maintained lethal velocity through multiple ricochets inside the enclosed spaces. A single sustained burst created what Marines grimly called the hornet's nest effect. Bullets ricocheting wildly off stone walls, concrete ceiling, rocky floor, in completely unpredictable patterns that made survival inside impossible. Japanese soldiers hiding deep in those caves discovered something terrifying. Death arrived before they could even see their enemy. By the time of the Saipan invasion on June 15, 1944, Japanese Lieutenant General Yoshitsugu Saito had studied previous battle reports extensively. He thought he understood what was coming. He was wrong. Marine doctrine had evolved to maximize the bar's employment to a science. The official ratio was now 1 bar for every 4 Marines. Unofficially, some squads operated with 5 or 6 bars, essentially turning themselves into mobile automatic weapons platforms. Walking walls of lead. The numbers from Saipan were absolutely staggering. The 2nd Marine Division alone fired 8.7 million rounds of 30-06 ammunition. In 3 weeks, the Japanese, still expecting to trade lives favorably through superior fighting spirit, instead faced a cold mathematical reality that shattered their entire worldview. American industrial production could provide more bullets than Japan could provide soldiers. The bar's impact extended far beyond the physical destruction of enemy positions. It created a psychological terror that ate away at Japanese military confidence from within. The weapon's distinctive sound, that rapid mechanical thudding, different from the sustained roar of heavy machine guns, announced that overwhelming mobile automatic firepower was close, hunting, and coming for you. This psychological warfare was multiplied by American fire discipline, short, controlled bursts that maximized accuracy while conserving ammunition. Not wild spraying, but precise, deliberate killing. By mid-1944, captured Japanese documents revealed something telling. Soldiers were being specifically instructed to prioritize killing bar gunners above all other targets, recognizing them as the true backbone of American small unit tactics. An almost impossible task, given the weapon's constant movement and sheer proliferation across American lines. The final battles, Iwo Jima and Okinawa, demonstrated the complete and total supremacy of American automatic weapons doctrine. On Iwo Jima, Retreat, General Tadamichi Kurebayashi had adapted every possible counter-tactic he could imagine. He developed an elaborate 11-mile-long tunnel defense network, the most sophisticated Japanese fortification of the entire war. But the bar had evolved too. Bar, up front, became the standard doctrine. The automatic rifleman now led advances, suppressing enemy positions with sustained fire, while riflemen maneuvered forward. The weapon that had been primarily defensive in World War I had become the offensive spearhead in the Pacific. Of the approximately 21,000 Japanese defenders on Iwo Jima, only 1 through 83 were captured alive. Many of the rest died, sealed forever in their caves by relentless bar fire. Marines fired an estimated 12 million rounds of small arms ammunition. In just 36 days, by Okinawa, American industrial mobilization had reached its absolute peak. The United States military had produced over 300,000 bars. Some American units had completely abandoned official organization tables, operating with 1 bar for every 2 or 3 soldiers, because survival meant firepower. And firepower meant the bar, the Shuri Line, the main Japanese defensive position, fell not to a single massive assault, but to the methodical, patient, grinding application of automatic weapons fire. Cave after cave, bunker after bunker, position after position, cleared with industrial efficiency. The disparity between the two forces wasn't just quantitative, it was qualitative, fundamental. The Japanese Type 96 and Type 99 light machine guns required 2-man crews, weighed more, and suffered from severe manufacturing inconsistencies. Japan's craft-based production system, spread across small workshops throughout the home islands, simply could not achieve the mechanical precision and tight tolerances necessary for truly reliable automatic weapons. American mass production produced better weapons, faster. The bar's superior metallurgy, including chrome molybdenum steel barrels, allowed for sustained fire without the barrel warping or losing accuracy, unlike the inferior steel used in Japanese weapons that could fail after sustained use. The bar transformed marksmanship itself. It allowed automatic riflemen to walk fire onto targets, processing an entire hillside in one magazine, forcing hidden Japanese soldiers to either reveal their positions or die in place. The concept of area denial through sustained firepower was a fundamental shift in warfare that the Japanese never successfully countered. But here's the critical truth that many historians overlook. The bar's battlefield effectiveness was entirely dependent on American logistical supremacy, the industrial capacity to keep it fed. A single Marine rifle squad could carry 2,000 rounds of bar ammunition, in addition to their standard rifle rounds. The United States produced approximately 47 billion rounds of small arms ammunition of all types during World War II. 47 billion. This ensured that American forces never, ever lacked ammunition at Okinawa. The U.S. 10th Army fired an estimated 60 million rounds of small arms ammunition. In 82 days, Japanese defenders, often limited to just 100 rounds per man for an entire battle, faced an enemy who could expend that amount in seconds. The bar embodied a fundamentally different conception of what warfare actually meant. Japanese military culture, rooted in centuries of samurai tradition, valued spiritual power, honor, and individual combat prowess. They treated their rifles as sacred objects, extensions of the warrior's soul. American military culture, rooted in industrial democracy and practical engineering, valued firepower, efficiency, and mechanical advantage above all. They treated the bar as a reliable, replaceable tool, just another machine that did a specific job extremely well. This cultural difference extended deeply into training philosophy. A standard bar training course required each Marine to fire at least 2,000 rounds, learning instinctive shooting, rapid magazine changes, and sustained fire discipline. An enormous investment, possible only because of American industrial capacity. Japanese soldiers often entered actual combat, having fired fewer than 100 rounds during their entire training period. In the entire Pacific War, Japanese forces killed approximately 111,000 Americans. A terrible cost, but they lost 2.3 million of their own people, a ratio exceeding 20 to 1, while the atomic bombs accelerated Japan's surrender and ended the war. Weapons like the bar had already guaranteed Japan's inevitable defeat. They demonstrated with brutal clarity that industrial capacity trumps warrior spirit every single time. Post-war Japanese officers, studying at American military institutions, discovered the true scale of the industrial asymmetry they had faced. 50,000 bars manufactured during the war, compared to Japan's total production of 94,000 light machine guns. The problem had never been tactical. It was industrial, economic, cultural, philosophical. The bar didn't just kill Japanese soldiers on those blood-soaked Pacific islands. It killed Japanese militarism itself, shattering the illusion that spiritual power could overcome material reality. And in doing so, it paved the way for a new Japan, a nation rebuilt on the very values that the bar represented. Industrial efficiency, technological innovation, and mass production excellence. The transformation was complete. Warfare had evolved from individual warrior prowess to national production capacity, and the bar delivered this lesson in the only language that war has ever truly understood. Overwhelming, unstoppable, inevitable force.